Hey guys, it has been a little over or under, I don't know, 2 months since I've posted on this channel, or any channel. This is my only channel. Well, I do have another channel, but I never post on that, so. And I would say I'm sorry, but I can't say I'm sorry because I was not in a good place. My last few weeks of pregnancy were really tough, okay? And then I figured, oh, then I'm gonna have the baby. You need a few days to recover, but then you're fine, and then I can post a video. And then all of the shit that I'm about to tell you happened. I want this video to be a little bit of catching up with you guys, letting you guys know where I'm at, where I've been. I wanna talk to you about my birth story because hello, my son is born. There's a baby, like right, I see him. He's right there. He is officially a week and 1 day old when I'm filming this, which is just so bizarre because like I don't know where the time has gone, mostly because I'm not sleeping and I have no idea what time it is. But I want to talk to you guys about everything. I didn't film anything of the birth, partially because the hospital doesn't allow it and also because I was in a C-section, which I'm going to explain to you guys why I had to end up getting a C-section. This whole ordeal just didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. Nothing went the way I thought it was going to go. I also want to talk to you about what it's like to be a new mom, like to a newborn. I don't feel like enough people are honest about how absolutely exhausting it is to have a new baby, to be a first-time mom, to be trying to figure out everything, even when you have all the help in the world. Because right now I have a lot of help and I still feel insane. I still feel like I have no idea what's going on and I'm just trying to figure out everything. And then some moments I feel like I totally got this, like everything's fine. And then all of a sudden I'm crying. Like, what? Anyway, this video is just gonna be a lot of rambling. I want to tell you guys the story of my birth. I want to show you guys my son. I'm not gonna show you him like close up like fucking Simba style, okay? But I do want to show him to you guys. Although I post pictures on Instagram and stuff, one time I posted a video and I did end up deleting it like 5 or 10 minutes after I posted it because something didn't feel right. Like I don't know, I don't feel right posting videos of him and that's just how I feel. I was gonna wait and see until he was born to see how I feel with sharing how much with you guys. And to be honest, for some reason when I put him on video, I feel uncomfortable. For right now, he's not going to be on video. I am going to show him to you guys, you know, cradle him in my arms and show him to you guys. And I'm going to post in this video little pictures that I've posted on Instagram. I'm even going to show you guys some that I haven't posted on Instagram or Twitter or anywhere yet so that you can see what he looks like. And, you know, most of you guys are just so amazing. But for right now, I don't know. I just want to limit what I'm sharing. But I do still want to be open with you guys and like tell you everything that happened. I don't know. Okay, I'm going through a lot right now. And hopefully that's okay with you guys. But yeah, if you want to meet him or see him or whatever and you don't give a shit about my birth story or anything that happened, even though it was really intense, you can go ahead and skip through this video. I don't know where it's gonna be, but just skip through the video until you see pictures of him and then be on your merry way. Okay, I get it. But I just want to start off this story with the end of my pregnancy and how that led into everything. I wasn't posting because the end is really difficult, okay? Everyone says that, you know, oh, the last 4 weeks of pregnancy, you're miserable and stuff, but it gets really intense. It gets you really desperate. I mean, it gets you to the point where you'll do almost anything to get the baby out of you, and that's what I was doing. I was bouncing on an exercise ball for hours. I mean, fucking hours. And I would be in pain. I felt like he was gonna just pop out. Like I was convinced my water was gonna break and I was just gonna have him because I felt so much pressure like on my pelvic bones that I was like, there's no way he's not coming soon. I remember I said, I think in my last pregnancy video that I thought he was gonna come early. Like I was like, I hope I make it to my baby shower and I don't give birth yet. And I was so stupid, okay? Because I wasn't even close to giving birth. When I was about 37.5 weeks pregnant, I was, really, really desperate. I was very hopeful that I would go to the doctor and she would check me, you know, check for dilation and all that stuff. For those of you that don't know, they basically frickin', it's intense what they do to your vagina, but they go in there, okay, fucking fishing, elbows deep. Not elbows deep, but it kind of feels like it's elbows deep. I don't need to be talking about this. Point is, they go in there, they check if you're dilated, which means that the whole process is starting, but sometimes that's not what it means. Like, pregnancy is so weird. And she basically told me at 37.5 weeks that I was nowhere near giving birth. My cervix was closed. She said super closed, which was very nice to hear. My cervix was thick and I was high up. And to have a baby, you need to be low, thin, and dilated. So I was like all the things I wasn't supposed to be yet. And I left that appointment sobbing. I was so sad about that. I couldn't imagine being pregnant 1 more week. And if you've been pregnant before, maybe you understand what I'm saying. In that moment, when you're so pregnant and so uncomfortable and you've pretty much lost sight of like everything you once were, your body's just changing every day. I mean, I got so much stretch marks at the end end, which I know that's a vain thing and whatever, but when you're already emotional and you already feel like for 9 months your body is not your body, it's someone else's body, and then you just start seeing all these stretch marks and you start feeling so painfully uncomfortable, it gets to you, man, because pregnancy is very long. It's the better part of a year, and that's a fucking long time. So I couldn't film. I couldn't get my head in a space to be able to sit down and talk to you guys. Like, seriously, I wanted to so bad. I think that a lot of people think I don't like to film, or that I don't take this seriously, that this is not like a serious commitment to me, because I'm always saying, oh, I'm gonna post, and then I don't. You know, I really want to just let you guys know, like, I wouldn't do this if I didn't love to do this. I would go get a 9-to-5 job where I know how much I'm gonna get paid every 2 weeks, and then I could just live in fucking peace. But I'd rather be doing this, whether one month I make no money and the next month I do. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Well, it does matter to me now. I gotta buy diapers. Whatever. Point is, it was really hard on me because not only did I have the anxiety of the pregnancy, just wanting it to be over, I had the anxiety of, oh my god, you're not doing your job, you're not posting on YouTube, and it's not as easy as just thinking, but everyone understands. It's like, it doesn't matter. I don't understand. I want to be posting. Anyway, before I just continue going on for like 8 years, okay, that's why I didn't post. So as my pregnancy continued, I made it to exactly 39 weeks, okay? On the day that I turned 39 weeks, he was born. A full-term pregnancy technically is 38 and a half weeks. That's when their lungs are finished developing and stuff, but really a full-term pregnancy is 40 weeks. Basically, on my 38 and a half week checkup, I went into the doctor and I was so anxious, and I would feel so guilty when I was anxious because I was pregnant and I didn't want to stress him. Every single time I felt anxiety, I remember like trying to visualize it like from here up. I'm like, don't let the anxiety get to your belly. Like literally like thinking thoughts like that, because I never wanted him to be in distress because of my mental issues. But that day was fucking rough, and I went into the doctor and I was hyperventilating and I was completely out of it. I just wanted her to tell me, oh my gosh, you're ready to have a baby, go into labor and delivery today, you're gonna push. And I felt like if she sent me home without telling me that I was gonna have the baby, I wouldn't be able to deal with it, because I was so anxious and uncomfortable and in distress myself. Like, I just felt like I can't do this anymore. They took my blood pressure that day and it was high. And for those of you that don't know, high blood pressure in a pregnancy is very, very dangerous, especially if it's consistent and it just stays high for a long period of time. It could put the baby in distress. It's awful. We went into the room to get examined, and when my doctor came in, I couldn't stop crying. And she turned into like my therapist. She's great. She literally was just like, listen, it's gonna be okay. All of these things you're feeling are normal. And I literally told her, I don't care if they're normal. I can't deal with it. I can't. I know that seems so silly. It's like, well, you can't just be pregnant for 1 more week. And yes, I could have been pregnant for 1 more week. But what I was worried about the most was my anxiety, and that now it was manifesting in my blood pressure. And was that going to put him in distress when I'm home? How do I know if it's putting him in distress? Like, I just started getting more anxiety. I was like, oh my gosh, my stress is finally getting to me, and this is going to put the baby in a bad position. And then I just felt so guilty and horrible, and I couldn't stop crying. And because of the blood pressure and my anxiety issues and all of this stuff, my doctor basically looked at me and was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. You cannot be induced, which induction is basically, you go in the hospital, they give you a drug. Well, a drug? I mean, I guess it's a drug. It's a synthetic form of what puts your body into labor. Typically, it's fine, you know, it doesn't necessarily hurt the baby or anything like that. Almost everybody, even if you go into labor naturally, like your water breaks, you'll go to the hospital, and at some point, they'll give you this drug to speed up everything. It's just the way it is in America. I know it's not the best way, you know, if you watch The Business of Being Born, like, I get all of that, okay? It's all a big fucking money scam. But she told me, we're gonna induce you at 39 weeks. We cannot do it any earlier, which I completely did not want to do it any earlier than would be safe for him. I wanted him to be fully developed. And when we did ultrasounds and stuff, he was good to go. Basically, she told me to come in on Thursday night, which was my birthday. And it was Tuesday when we went to the doctor's appointment, so it was 2 nights later to go into the hospital. They were gonna start the process, put something in my cervix to make it thin out, and then they were gonna put the Pitocin in the next morning and basically try and get me to go into labor. And I was very adamant that I wanted a vaginal birth. She did tell me before I left the office, she goes, listen, I want you to know you're a fingertip dilated, which means, I don't know, a finger can fit in my friggin' cervix. I don't know. But she told me that I was a higher risk for a C-section. She didn't say like you're a high risk for a C-section, but she told me, you know, this is gonna raise the chances that we're gonna have to do that. At the end of the day, if I'm okay and he's okay, then I'm, you know, okay. So we went into the hospital Thursday night, and right before we went to the hospital, I had a huge dinner at PF Chang's because it was my birthday. And also, once you go into labor and delivery, you cannot eat anything, you cannot drink water. All you can do is chew on ice, which honestly, they have the best ice in that hospital. It's like primo ice. That's not important, but it is important to me. We got to the hospital Thursday night and they started the process of everything, and it's uncomfortable. You know, they're coming in and they're checking you every fucking, I don't even know how long. They put on a blood pressure cuff, which if you've ever had your blood pressure taken, it's uncomfortable. It doesn't hurt at all. It just squeezes your arm till it feels like, you know, it's gonna fall off. My blood pressure cuff would go off and automatically check my blood pressure every 15 minutes. So sleep was not great, but they did give me something to go to sleep because the next day I was gonna be pushing. So I had to have my energy or whatever. They started my Pitocin at 11 a.m. They did take out the Cervidil, which is the thing that they put inside of you that makes your cervix thin out. They took it out like 2 hours before they were supposed to because that's what the doctor wanted. I'm not really sure why that happened. But when you're in the hospital, if you've had a baby before, even though you have absolutely the right to say no, like I don't want to do this or I do want to do this, it's kind of easy to just like fall into what everyone's doing. Like you're just laying there and everyone just comes in and pretty much does whatever they want with you. And also I'm a person that has like issues speaking up, so that's what happened. And they took it out early and I was like, all right, so that means I'm gonna have the baby earlier because they're gonna put the Pitocin in and I'm gonna go into labor. So basically a few hours after they started the Pitocin, I started feeling contractions. I did want an epidural, but I didn't want it right away because I felt like I wanted to know what contractions felt like. My whole life I've wanted to know what labor feels like what is it? Is it a period pain? Is it something worse? Like what is it? So I let it get to the point where I felt strong contractions and they were coming very consistently, which was because of the Pitocin they gave me. Oh shit, he's waking up. Oh shit. I let the contractions get to the point where they were very uncomfortable, and so then I ordered the epidural and I got it, which is something I've always been like really scared of doing. I was more scared of the epidural than I was of giving birth. And you know what? It wasn't horrendous. It is uncomfortable, but I don't know, it wasn't that bad. The worst part has been since the epidural, I will randomly get a very sharp pain where I was injected, which I hear is normal. Like my mom says she got that with all her kids, but it kind of feels all fucked up when it's happening. It's like, oh shit, did I get like paralyzed? Is there something that went wrong in my epidural? Whatever. I got the epidural and I was numb for hours. And what happens with an epidural is your body goes completely numb unless you're getting a walking epidural, which I didn't because they don't have that in that hospital. But your entire stomach and your legs are literally like a dead body. When they would come in to check me, they would literally like flop my legs and my legs would just fucking, I mean, it was really, really fucked up. It was great because I didn't feel contractions, but the feeling is very uncomfortable. And basically my doctor told me that there was only a certain amount of time that she wanted me to be with the epidural. After a certain amount of time, you kind of start going crazy, okay? Because you're just numb for so many hours and it's not good for anyone. So I wasn't feeling my contractions, but they were coming very regularly and very strong. So she told me, okay, I'm gonna come and check you in a few hours and I'm gonna break your water, which would help me go along into labor. So basically what they do in the hospital when you're not someone who goes into labor naturally is they do all the steps of labor just artificially, which a lot of women go into labor and their water never even breaks. So they end up having to get it broken by a doctor anyway. I know it sounds like I just went like completely the artificial route, and I did, but it's something that even when women go into labor naturally, it's just things that happen. They need to assist you in certain ways, whatever. Besides the point. She comes back in to check me and to break my water, and she basically told me, listen, your cervix is tilted to the left still. It's not all thinned out. You're still just a fingertip dilated, so I was 1 centimeter dilated, and I don't feel comfortable breaking your water yet, so let's wait 2 more hours, and if then there's no change and you're not even like a centimeter more dilated and you're not progressing at all, then we're gonna have to talk, which I knew what that meant, but she said it very seriously. I was like, oh my God. So she came in 2 hours later and I was not progressing at all. Everything had stayed the same, but contractions were coming regularly. So that basically meant the Pitocin was working, I was contracting, but I was failing to progress, which is literally what they call it. Like when you have to go from an induction to a C-section, it's because of failure to progress. And she basically looked at me and she was like, listen, I'm sorry. I know you wanted to have a vaginal birth and it's not gonna happen. She told me basically that it was gonna be too many hours with the epidural, too many hours with the Pitocin. It was just gonna be too much, and we still didn't even know if in the end of all of that, I was gonna be able to do a vaginal birth. And when she told me that, it wasn't, I don't even know how to describe it. My mind at that point was so like straightforward. It was like, okay, you're gonna have a baby. One way or another, you're gonna have a baby. And so when she said I had to have a C-section, my mom completely freaked out. I saw her face just like completely change. And I had to actually tell her to get out of the room because I had to prepare myself. Like literally the doctor said, in an hour, we're gonna bring you into surgery. And I just had an hour to mentally prepare myself for being cut open and my baby being taken out of my stomach. And that's just not how I saw it happening. And that's not how it happened for my mom. And I thought I knew what was gonna happen, and it wasn't that. you know, and that was hard, but I had to put myself in a headspace where I was just like, you're gonna have this baby and he's gonna be healthy, and that's all that matters. So I did good, you know, I drank the little juice they gave me, and I was a little kind of loopy when I went in. The surgery room was beautiful because it's in like downtown Miami, and it was just huge open windows, and it was such a beautiful day, and I got to look outside and see all the buildings and the skyline of Miami. I was like, this is like the best way to have a C-section ever. And they started doing the C-section, and I'm like I'm literally a little bit traumatized from this experience. I can't even lie. It was the hardest thing ever. You know, people say, oh, C-sections are the easy way out. And for a lot of people, you get cut open and your baby's out before you know it and everything's smooth and oh my God, this is great. But that's not what happened in my C-section. Of course it's not. I mean, why would it be? They cut into you in about 3 minutes, okay? And they cut into you, okay? Several layers of your, you know, I don't even know. I'm not a doctor, okay? But several layers of your body. They cut into it in just a matter of minutes, and basically that's when they take the baby out and voila, you're a mom. But for me, he was very high up. So even though I thought he was gonna come soon, he was already weighing around 8 pounds according to the ultrasound that we had before he was born. And so I was like, okay, he's huge, he's head down, he's ready to come out, like I'm gonna go into labor any day. But it turns out when she actually like went in to see what was happening, he was very high up still. He was not close to coming out. She told me that basically there was like a very low chance that he would have ever engaged and come out vaginally on his own. She said that she took the vacuum, which sounds really crazy. She took a vacuum to his head and literally was like fucking trying to take him out, fucking Dirt Devil style, just come on. And she did that twice, according to her, and he was not coming out. And every time that they would tug the baby, you don't feel pain, but you feel an intense amount of pressure, okay? And in my case, it's like that pressure times a billion, okay? I felt like my rib cage was being snapped and my whole chest was concaving, and I just felt like I couldn't breathe. And you have to be with your arms out on the fucking bed, and you're just there like, oh my God, it was so bad. I would say it took them about 10 minutes of tugging, and every single time they tugged, I was just like, like those were the noises I was making because I couldn't breathe. And I was looking at Nassim because he was the only one obviously allowed to be in the room. I was looking at him and my eyes were like rolling back in my head, and I was convulsing because it was just, I mean, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die here. I thought that either they had gone into something they shouldn't have gone into, a lung had collapsed, something had gone painfully wrong, because my chest over here, like in these pressure points, just felt like it was falling on me, and everything just, I couldn't breathe. The anesthesiologist put oxygen on me and it didn't really help. I was struggling so bad to breathe, and it was taking them so long to get him out, and they were just tugging and tugging and tugging. So the doctor basically told me, listen, had it been someone else, they probably would have cut into you this way as well as this way, because a C-section is a scar like this big on your bikini line, so under where a bikini would go. She told me that basically instead of having to cut me this way and this way to get him out because he was so high up, she cut underneath my incision, my actual tissue, like a larger cut. So the top just looks like there's a cut this big, but underneath in my tissue, there's a cut like this big, or bigger or smaller, I don't know. I didn't cut it. When she did that, he finally came out, and I have video of that because the anesthesiologist was like taking video, which is weird because they told us we couldn't film, but whatever. Point is, I saw that after the fact, and oh my God, it's no wonder I have been in so much pain. It was so intense. Like, I don't want to start crying because, I mean, honestly, my hormones are horrendous right now. I kept thinking, like, is he really gonna come out? And when he comes out, like, is he gonna cry? Is he okay? Like, what's his deal? You know, I just couldn't imagine that I grew a baby in me that can see and hear and taste and feel. Like, I just couldn't imagine that he was gonna be okay. And in my last weeks of pregnancy, I had so much anxiety about that. I was like, oh my God, is there gonna be something that he needs help with? Is he not gonna be okay? Like, just normal stressed thoughts about your baby. And when he came out, Nassim looked at me, he's like, he's out. And I heard him cry, and we just both started crying because it was like so intense. It was so intense. And it was tough because when he came out, you know, Nassim went to go and cut the umbilical cord, and I was there still like really fucked up. You know, I was still feeling pressure because they were closing me up. I still felt all the fucking weight on my chest. I don't know what that was. I don't know if it was something with the anesthesia, but the anesthesiologist gave me something that like kind of made me a little dizzy and stuff like that. I guess he wanted to like help me just relax. And it just kind of sucked, you know, just like laying there with your arms like this, and I just wanted to see him. I just wanted to see Noah. Like, is he okay? And Nassim kept looking at me and he goes, he's beautiful, he's okay. And I'm just there like, Oh my god. And it was hard because they took Noah out of the room, and for like 30 minutes I was by myself because Nassim went with Noah, and I was like by myself there just being stitched up, just looking at the roof like, did this all, like, is everything fine? I'm not dead? Like, what the fuck? Right away they took the epidural out so that the numbness would start wearing off, and then they transfer me to recovery, which you stay in for like a few hours before you go to your like maternity suite where you stay for a few days. And when I was in recovery, I finally got to like hold Noah and see him, and it was amazing. You know, they tell you how you're gonna feel and you still can't even imagine it, you know? And I just kept looking at him like, oh my god, he was real, like he was really in there. And I kept looking at my belly, and I still look a little pregnant. Like, I look like I'm like 2 months pregnant or 3 months pregnant, but I just kept looking like, oh my god, he's not in there anymore. I felt like really guilty because it was so hard for him to come out, and even though he's okay, you know, like he had everything he needed in my stomach and my belly, and I know eventually he had to come out anyway, and they cry and they want to eat and they want their diaper changed and all that stuff, but I felt guilty. I was like, I took him out of there, like I'm the one, because of my anxiety, because of my blood pressure, like I'm the one that made this happen, and he was so comfortable, like he was literally high up, like I'm chilling, I don't want to come out. And I felt like guilty, you know, looking at him. He was crying, they were giving him his vitamin K shot and stuff like that, and I just felt like guilty. I don't know. Maybe that's my hormones talking, or maybe that's a valid feeling. I don't know. But when the epidural started wearing off, the excruciating pain came, and I don't really like want to go too much into it. It was just like the worst pain I've ever felt in my entire life, and they massage your belly, and I have, you know, even now I have a lot of pain. I'm still on medication. I'm on ibuprofen, nothing crazy. I'm not on Percocet anymore, but I was on Percocet at one point, and it was kind of amazing. But imagine you're fresh out of surgery, you are in so much pain, and they come in and they're pressing and pressing to make sure that you're bleeding normally. The first night they made me walk to the bathroom by myself, and I was literally convulsing. I was looking at the roof and I was shaking. I look back at that and I'm like, how did I do it? Like how did that pain not kill me? Like that was literally the worst pain I have ever felt in my entire life, and it was really, really rough. And on top of that, you have a baby. It's like, surprise, here's something to take care of, and you're also dying on the floor. Like, no big deal. The next day was really tough. It's hard, you know, like right now I'm feeling like little pains and stuff, and I have to pump and I have to eat. I have to remember to eat because you lose your appetite completely when you're breastfeeding, or at least I did. Since I had my baby, I have lost 24 pounds, okay? And that is in a week and a day. I know that a lot of the weight is like the placenta and the baby. Obviously, he was born 8 pounds 4 ounces. Right now, I'm about like 5 or 6 pounds from the weight that I started this pregnancy at. And I know that breastfeeding helps with all that and stuff, but like I'm also a little worried because I just don't eat enough, and I am breastfeeding and I need to be eating. But the point is, this shit's hard, okay? Every time you lay down to relax, an alarm goes off because either he needs to eat, or I need to pump, or I need to eat. But honestly, I do want to say this for anyone that is pregnant for the first time, for anyone that is a first-time parent or about to be a first-time parent, you will figure it out. It is really hard. And I have, in the last week of my life, had more mental breakdowns than I can count. I think I'm fine 1 second, and then all of a sudden I am so not fine that I can't even function, and that happens in a split second. You know, it's really tough, and I almost gave up this week, you know, like breastfeeding and stuff, because it's tough, you know. Most people just are like, oh, give them formula because then they're gonna sleep like 4 hours instead of 2 hours, and that's not what I want. I am adamant that I want to be exclusively feeding him my milk for the first 6 months of his life, if not more, and that's just something that I want to do. And so it's been really hard because that's not the easy choice. And yeah, that's basically the extremely long story of the end of my pregnancy, my birth story, and up to now. I'm figuring it out. I'm getting better at it. I feel capable, because there's so many times where as a first-time mom you're like, holy shit, like cancel button, I can't do this, and you start feeling like not yourself. It's a really testing time, you know. But when it's 3 in the morning and you are dying to sleep and you're just literally falling asleep, you cannot control it, and you look down and you see that face of your kid looking up at you like, oh my god, thanks for the milk, it's honestly like the only thing that keeps you going, because otherwise this shit's not easy. But anyway, now we've waited long enough for the reveal. Thank you guys for hearing me out. Is anyone even still here? I'm gonna go grab the little giraffe and I'm gonna bring him so you guys can meet your little brother. You got milk all over your mouth. Clean yourself. This is my son. Are you my son or something? Or is that for real? Or are you like for fake or something? You got milk all over your mouth? You're kind of a mess?
Okay.
This is Noah. This was in my stomach, guys.
One time you were this big. Oh, you got an eye booger. One time you were this big, and then all of a sudden you're this big. Kind of crazy, huh?
He's wearing a shirt that someone sent to my P.O. box. It says made in Vagina. And I think that's great.
It's a little bit too big on him, but we don't care about that, huh?
I'm gonna put up some pictures here that are of him. We had some pictures taken in the hospital. Basically, he has my exact eyes when I was born, okay? Very, very like small, kind of like this. But he has Nassim's nose, he has Nassim's lips, which is kind of what I thought was gonna happen. I thought he was gonna look like me from the eyes up and Nassim from the nose down.
And that's what we got, huh?
This is the most amazing thing that has ever happened to my entire life, and it does not come easy. None of it is easy. But at the end of the day, like, this is, you know, you get this. You get this
for the rest of your life, and you're the sweetest boy in the world, so I'm super lucky, huh?
Anyway, guys, that's it for today's video. I hope you liked meeting your little brother and hearing about how he came into the world. You have your hand in your ear. Yeah, that's it. That's everything.
All the 9 months, all of that. All of it was so worth it. Look at you.
Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel because I post videos sometimes. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.
Say bye, Noah. Say bye, Noah. Oh, that's right. You don't know how to talk yet.
Okay, bye.